Along the Gulf of Finland at the Nevsky shipyards, a steel hull was laid down. This ship was subsequently regarded as a significant element of a new period in the development of the Imperial fleet. At the time of its laying down, it was not known that this destroyer, named Novik, would become one of the fastest and most powerful ships of its class in the First World War and achieve widespread renown. In the early 20th century, the Novik project represented an innovative technical solution, demonstrating the competitiveness of local shipbuilding. The state faced the necessity of large-scale transformations. Following the defeat in the Russo-Japanese War, the fleet was in dire need of radical modernization. Naval specialists concluded that the era of heavy battleships was coming to an end, and fast ships were required to maintain strategic influence in the Baltic Sea. The Naval Ministry, together with a new generation of military engineers, developed a plan for creating a small, high-speed ship designed for rapid attacks, precision strikes, and quick withdrawals. This concept formed the basis of a new type of destroyer project, subsequently named Novik. The project's development was entrusted to leading specialists of that period. By order of the Naval Department, German specialists from the Schischau shipyard in Danzig, which was one of Europe's leading shipbuilding companies, were brought in to assist. This decision was driven by the need not only to build a ship, but also to create a benchmark against which subsequent series were to be constructed. The goal was not merely to create a new warship, but an effective means to achieve naval superiority. The project was based on three key requirements: maximum speed, high maneuverability, and versatile armament. Engineers at the Schischau shipyard proposed an innovative technical solution. It involved the installation of Parsons turbines capable of developing 30,000 horsepower. This allowed the ship to achieve speeds exceeding 37 knots, which was an outstanding performance at the time. For comparison, the average speed of most foreign destroyers was about 30 knots. The increased speed provided the Novik with a tactical advantage, enabling rapid maneuvers and operations. Beyond speed, significant attention was paid to armament. Its light hull accommodated 4 120mm guns, 2 twin torpedo tube mounts, and rapid-fire machine guns for close combat. For a ship with a displacement of less than 1,000 tons, this represented a substantial arsenal. Thus, the Novik was positioned as a multifunctional combat platform capable of performing various tasks, from reconnaissance and interception to attacks on large ships and escorting formations. The construction of the Novik, laid down in 1912, was carried out with meticulous quality control and high intensity of work. Every structural element was subjected to inspection. The production process, which included night shifts, was aimed at creating a highly efficient vessel. Hull stability and vibration tests showed high results. The vessel successfully withstood loads exceeding standard indicators for similar structures of that period. This testified to the creation of a destroyer with exceptional characteristics. In the spring of 1913, sea trials began on the Baltic Sea. They took place with the participation of fleet representatives and international observers. Upon reaching a speed of over 37 knots, a pronounced display of approval was recorded on deck. The noted result exceeded the speed performance of existing British and German counterparts at that time. This event received wide coverage in the press. Subsequently, in London and Berlin, work began on designing new ship models aimed at achieving comparable characteristics, but without similar results. The destroyer quickly established itself as a reference model. Experts, including those from competing states, recognized the creation of a highly efficient vessel. The destroyer Novik influenced the development of naval engineering. Technical solutions applied in its design were subsequently used in projects of other vessels. The ship was characterized by lightness, high speed, and maneuverability. Its design was optimized for offensive operations. Within the Baltic Fleet, Novik attracted significant interest, and service on this ship was considered prestigious among junior officers. Captain Second Rank Mikhail Behrens, known for his competence and discipline, was appointed commander. Commander Behrens recognized the need for special training for the new vessel. During the first months, the crew practiced maneuvers and interaction. Each crew member was required to have thorough knowledge of their functions. The ship's design and application tactics were oriented towards achieving high speed and precision of actions. At the end of 1913, Novik was officially incorporated into the Baltic Fleet. During this period, tension was growing in Europe, foreshadowing a conflict between leading powers. In August 1914, with the outbreak of the First World War, Novik became one of the first vessels to enter combat. The destroyer was characterized by active and effective operations. During the first operations off the coast of Germany, its combat capabilities were demonstrated. Using high speed, Novik approached within firing range, struck, and withdrew, outpacing enemy countermeasures. The opposing side nicknamed it the Ghost of the Baltic. Radio intercepts recorded messages about the ship appearing suddenly. The crew noted the high characteristics of their vessel, considering it one of the fastest and most effectively armed ships in Europe. By the winter of 1914, Novik was actively disrupting enemy naval communications. It carried out attacks on transports, shelled coastal facilities, and successfully evaded pursuit, including submarines. Its renown grew. Opinions were voiced at the Baltic Fleet headquarters about the potential of such vessels as the basis for the development of naval tactics. Characteristics included lightness, high speed, and the ability for sudden actions. Thus, Novik became one of the notable participants in changing perceptions of naval warfare. The initial weeks of the war represented a period of intense activity for ships that had put to sea. The Baltic Sea became a zone of active covert operations, minefields, and sudden attacks. In contrast to the tactics of large battleships and heavy cruisers, the actions of the destroyer Novik were characterized by high speed and initiative. Its activity was constant. The crew demonstrated a high degree of coordination. Each mission represented a high-risk operation, contributing to the development of naval experience. Commander Mikhail Behrens believed that the ship's key advantages were speed and initiative. In August 1914, Novik embarked on a series of reconnaissance operations off the coast of East Prussia. These operations aimed to identify enemy minefield positions and intercept transport vessels heading towards the Palau base. During these actions, the new destroyer demonstrated its capability for unconventional tactical solutions. The ship was characterized by rapid movement, sudden changes of course, and the use of minimal smoke tactics, which allowed it to appear on the horizon unexpectedly and vanish before the enemy could react. On August 23, a raid was recorded during which Novik, accompanied by the destroyers Pogranichnik and Zabiako, entered Memel Bay and shelled enemy warehouses and coastal batteries. The attack proved unexpected for the defending forces. The artillery exchange lasted less than 10 minutes, resulting in a significant effect. One of the ammunition warehouses ignited, causing a bright glow on the shore. Commander Behrens gave the order to cease fire and withdraw before larger enemy forces could approach. The ships withdrew at full speed, avoiding direct hits. Following the aforementioned raid, German intelligence services reported for the first time on a destroyer, presumably belonging to the Russian fleet, which was distinguished by its high speed and, according to reports, utilized new turbines. In September, Novik participated in laying minefields off the coast of Courland. The operation took place at night in conditions of poor visibility and heavy seas. The ship maneuvered between navigational buoys, providing cover for the mine transports. Upon detecting a German patrol vessel, Novik opened fire first, leading to the patrol's retreat. From this time on, German commanders began issuing orders to avoid close combat when encountering a ship with a distinctive silhouette and high speed. By the winter of 1914, Novik had effectively become the lead ship of the Baltic Fleet's Light Forces tactical units. Its crew was assigned tasks of increased complexity: reconnaissance of approaches to Danzig, escorting submarines, and intercepting enemy vessels in the Gulf of Bothnia. The command noted the high discipline and training level of the crew members. Their actions were characterized by precision and coordination. In January 1915, an event occurred that was marked in Novik's history. Off Cape Domesnay, the Russian destroyer engaged in battle with two German torpedo boats, S-59 and B-107. The German torpedo boats attempted to cut off the escape route of a transport convoy, but Commander Behrens decided to engage in battle. When the enemy ships approached to a distance of about 5 nautical miles, Novik reached maximum speed and opened fire with its bow guns. The first shell landed near the side of B-107, and the second hit its stern superstructure. The German torpedo boats returned fire, but it did not reach its target, as the destroyer's high maneuvering speed made their aiming difficult. After 10 minutes, the enemy attempted to escape under the cover of fog, but Novik pursued it until it disappeared beyond the horizon. At the Baltic Fleet headquarters, this battle was characterized as an example of courage and naval prowess. Following this incident, German newspapers reported on a new Russian type of destroyer, beyond the reach of our torpedoes. In Danzig, coastal defense measures were strengthened, presumably due to fear of sudden attacks. In the spring, Novik was again spotted off the coast of East Prussia. This time, its mission was to support mine-laying operations off Cape Stolp. For 3 hours, the ship fired upon coastal positions, preventing a German launch from approaching the mine transport. After completing its mission, the ship returned to base without losses, although 7 shrapnel holes were recorded in the hull. With each passing month, the crew's combat experience grew. The ship underwent modernization. Its artillery installations were reinforced, and the smoke emission system was improved, which contributed to reducing the destroyer's visibility. Opinions were expressed within the fleet that Novik served as a school for a new generation of sailors. Its maneuverability was studied in staff officer courses, and engineers analyzed reports on turbine operation. In the summer of 1915, an active phase of confrontation began in the Baltic Sea region. The German fleet sought to break through into the Gulf of Finland with the aim of neutralizing Russian bases. Novik participated in patrolling the Moonsund archipelago, operating in conjunction with the destroyers Pobeditel and Gram. On the night of June 28th, a clash occurred with German launches that were attempting to lay minefields. Conditions were characterized by extremely low visibility and rough seas, which made navigation difficult. However, Commander Behrens, relying on the experience of previous operations, ordered full speed ahead and an attack using searchlights. When the beams of light pierced the darkness, 2 enemy vessels were discovered. Novik fired a torpedo that struck the first launch. The second launch attempted to withdraw, but was hit by a salvo from the bow guns. After several minutes, the operation concluded. The crew's actions were swift and effective. The nighttime operation was mentioned in German reports. The actions of the Russian Empire's forces were characterized by a high degree of resolve. Sailors of the German fleet gave the destroyer Novik the nickname Black Arrow of the Baltic. The crew was awarded for its actions, and Barons received the Order of St. George, 4th class. In the autumn of the same year, Novik provided escort for heavy cruisers during an operation in the Åland Islands region. In conditions where German minefields posed a threat to the main ship groups, the destroyer Novik was the first to navigate the dangerous section, creating a safe passage. Its precise navigational data helped prevent the entire squadron from being blown up. These events served as a demonstration of the ship's high speed and reliability. By early 1916, Novik had gained a prominent position in the Russian Imperial Fleet in the Baltic. The ship was characterized by outstanding speed, accuracy, and crew training. Every sea sortie and every engagement was seen as a demonstration of its technical capabilities and the quality of its engineering solutions. The crew understood the historical significance of the ship during its period of service. However, new challenges lay ahead. The German fleet was preparing for a large-scale operation in the Gulf of Riga, where Novik was tasked with one of the key coastal defense duties for the Russian Empire. This operation was intended to test not only the technical systems, but also the quality of the entire crew's performance. By mid-1915, the Baltic Sea had become a zone of active confrontation. The German fleet intensified pressure on the positions of the Russian Empire's forces in the Gulf of Riga. The command of the German fleet sought to break through to the coast and neutralize the Russian Imperial Fleet's anchorage to secure control over the eastern sector of the sea. The command of the Russian Empire realized that the outcome of this operation would determine not only its positions in the Baltic, but also the security of the country's northern borders. It was during these weeks that Novik found itself at the center of events, becoming one of the key participants in the intense naval operations of the First World War. On the morning of July 20th, intelligence reported the departure of a German squadron from Libau and its movement towards the entrance to the Gulf of Riga. These forces included the dreadnoughts Nassau and Posen, several armored cruisers, destroyers, and dozens of auxiliary vessels. Their task was to breach the mine barriers and destroy the Russian Empire's forces in the Gulf. The Russian Empire's forces could counter them with several cruisers, 4 submarines, and a group of destroyers, among which Novik stood out for its high speed and maneuverability. The morning of July 22nd was marked by a dense fog, with visibility barely exceeding 400 yards. Under these conditions, the German ships began their offensive. The first reports of German forces' movement came from observation posts near Moon Island. Barons, who at that time commanded the destroyer detachment, immediately ordered them to take an attacking position. Novik led the formation, followed by Pobeditel and Gram. Their goal was to intercept the German torpedo boats that were clearing the path for the dreadnoughts. When the silhouettes of the German ships emerged from the fog, the Russian Empire's forces opened fire. Novik was the first to launch torpedoes, forcing the opposing ships to change course. The battle developed intensely. At a distance of less than 3 kilometers, the ships exchanged fire. Flashes of guns cut through the morning air. The German ships attempted to encircle the opposing destroyers, but the latter actively maneuvered, changing course and deploying smoke screens. One of the torpedoes, launched from the destroyer Novik, struck a German minesweeper, leading to an explosion that was observed from the shore. This event presumably influenced subsequent actions. The forces to which Novik belonged did not retreat. The engagement lasted for more than half an hour. With the emergence of the massive silhouettes of German dreadnoughts from the fog, Commander Barons ordered a retreat towards the minefields with the aim of luring the pursuer into a perilous zone. This maneuver had a significant impact on the course of events. German forces continued the pursuit and subsequently entered zones where mines had been laid. As a result of an explosion, one of their destroyers was damaged. after which the remaining ships began to maneuver erratically. Submarines of the Baltic Fleet, belonging to the same side as the Novik, capitalized on this situation by attacking the convoy. The actions of the destroyer Novik and its maneuvers contributed to thwarting the first breakthrough attempt. However, the German command did not alter its plans. A few days later, the attack resumed with increased intensity. This time, German forces employed dreadnoughts for artillery support, shelling positions on the islands held by the opposing side. The destroyer Novik was once again deployed in the combat area. It was tasked with covering minelaying operations off Cape Kihilkan. The execution of this mission was characterized by a high degree of complexity and danger. Under heavy artillery fire, the destroyer maneuvered, providing cover for minesweepers and maintaining the defensive line. During one of the bombardments, shell fragments damaged the hull plating in the stern, disrupting the steering gear. The crew demonstrated discipline and efficiency. Mechanics manually switched to emergency steering, which allowed the vessel to maintain its course. Gunners continued firing, maintaining distance from the German ships. Despite the damage sustained, the vessel remained on station until the operation was completed. According to available data, throughout the entire period of combat operations, a high degree of duty performance was observed among the crew on board the vessel, including the wounded. By the end of August, the situation for the forces to which the Novik belonged remained challenging. German dreadnoughts re-entered the bay. Dense minefields prevented their further approach to Riga. The destroyer Novik continuously carried out reconnaissance, escorting transport vessels and covering repair ships. During one such raid, the destroyer detected and sank a German torpedo boat that had attempted to penetrate the opposing side's base. A torpedo launched from the Novik hit its target on the first attempt. This outcome was achieved due to the accuracy of the targeting system and the crew's level of training. Following this event, German forces intensified operations to detect the destroyer, assigning special patrols for this purpose, and radio stations regularly intercepted messages about its possible routes. However, the Novik evaded detection and capture. Its high speed allowed it to escape pursuit, appearing alternately off the Latvian coast and in the area of the Finnish Skerries. The nickname Black Arrow was recorded in German reports. In October, prolonged storms began, and the intensity of naval operations decreased. However, during this period, the Novik continued to carry out its missions. It escorted convoys with coal and ammunition, ensured communication between bases, and periodically participated in rescue operations. The crew demonstrated coordinated actions, the vessel's technical condition was maintained at a proper level, and damages sustained during the summer were fully repaired. By the end of the year, the Baltic Fleet Command summarized the results. Of all the destroyers in the fleet, the Novik recorded the highest number of combat sorties and confirmed successful actions. The ship covered hundreds of nautical miles, participated in dozens of combat engagements, never once allowing the enemy to deliver a decisive blow. These indicators attested to its high endurance and engineering reliability. In the winter of 1916, Novik was undergoing repairs in Kronstadt. During operations, the hull had endured significant stresses. However, the engine room remained in excellent condition. Mechanics noted that even after months of intensive loads, the turbines maintained their design power. This confirmed the quality of the design, which incorporated German School of Design and Engineering standards. After repairs, the ship was again put into service. The command decided to use it as part of a new formation of light forces, intended for operations in the Gulf of Riga and near the Åland Islands. The destroyer was appointed flagship of the detachment, which was to operate against numerically superior enemy forces. Thus began a new stage in Novik's service, where decisive factors included not only speed and firepower, but also the ability to make quick decisions in complex conditions. Spring 1916 offered the Baltic Fleet a brief respite. However, the operational situation remained tense. German forces were preparing new offensive operations, while the fleet's forces were strengthening the defense of the archipelagos. During this period, Novik once again became the primary strike vessel of the light forces. After its repairs, it was in a condition close to new. Reinforced boilers, an improved fire control system, and an updated radio station enhanced its combat effectiveness. The ship was ready for further operations. The first months of the campaign were spent on constant patrol raids. The destroyer operated off the coasts of Estonia and Latvia, guarding the approaches to the Moonsund Strait. Its tasks included detecting submarines, protecting transports, and reconnaissance near enemy bases. In these operations, the ship demonstrated its customary resolve. When German boats attempted to lay new mines near the Irbe Strait, Novik, with a detachment of destroyers, was the first to attack them, preventing the execution of their plans. On that day, fleet forces fired more than 300 shots, forcing the enemy to retreat westward. The summer was characterized by particular tension. German forces increasingly attempted to break through minefields with the aim of gaining control over the Gulf of Riga. Novik operated almost daily, escorting minesweepers and providing cover for submarines entering the sea. Its speed and accuracy once again proved to be decisive factors. On several occasions, it intercepted German torpedo boats, forcing them to withdraw under a smokescreen. The Baltic Fleet Command noted that, without the participation of this ship, many operations would have been difficult to accomplish. By autumn 1916, Novik was considered the most reliable destroyer in the fleet. It covered hundreds of nautical miles without incident. However, in addition to military threats, internal political complexities were also growing. Domestic events began in the country, gradually affecting the state of the fleet. Despite the tense situation, Novik's crew maintained discipline. The personnel fulfilled their duty to hold maritime positions amidst the confrontation. By early 1917, the situation on the fronts had significantly changed. Revolutionary events in Petrograd led to a weakening of the command and control system. Uncertainty regarding the operational situation was noted in the Baltic. Some crews refused to carry out orders. Some ships remained immobile. Nevertheless, Novik continued its service. Its crew maintained cohesion and loyalty to the fleet. In the spring, the ship participated in several reconnaissance sorties, contributing to the maintenance of order in the Gulf of Finland. By summer, German forces were preparing a major operation to seize the Moonsund archipelago. Their objective was to blockade the fleet's forces and establish control over strategic straits. The command understood the enemy's numerical superiority, yet retreat was not considered. Novik joined a detachment tasked with defending the approaches to the Gulf. Its mission was to repel torpedo boat attacks and maintain communication lines between the islands. The offensive began in late September. German dreadnoughts and torpedo boats subjected Russian positions to intense bombardment. Under these circumstances, the destroyer Novik operated actively. The ship maneuvered between islands, engaging in artillery combat with numerically superior enemy forces. Several times it approached to minimum range to cover retreating units. In one incident, torpedoes were launched at a German cruiser, which forced it to alter course and allowed Russian minesweepers to exit the danger zone. The battle near Worms Island became one of the last significant engagements involving the Novik. For several hours, the ship fired upon enemy forces, despite intense return fire. Several shells exploded nearby. Fragments pierced the hull plating and damaged the superstructure. A fire broke out on the ship, which was quickly extinguished by the crew. The destroyer remained operational and continued to cover the retreat. After this battle, German forces occupied part of the archipelago, but they failed to completely disable the Russian forces. By the end of October, the Novik withdrew to Reval for repairs. The ship had significantly worn out, yet its technical condition remained satisfactory. Mechanics once again noted the high reliability of its engines. Throughout the entire period of combat operations, it covered thousands of miles and participated in dozens of battles, retaining the ability to achieve its design speed. Following the events of the October Revolution, the fleet found itself in a state of disorganization. Ships of the Baltic Fleet were located in Kronstadt and Helsingfors, awaiting further orders. The Novik continued to be listed as part of the fleet, but no longer conducted active operations. In the spring of 1918, the Baltic Squadron began its transfer to Kronstadt to avoid capture by German forces. The destroyer completed this transfer without incident, becoming one of the few ships that maintained combat readiness amidst wartime operations and revolutionary transformations. This concluded its military service with the Imperial Fleet. Subsequently, the ship was renamed and continued operations under a new flag. Its history, however, had a continuation. The Novik was subsequently regarded as a symbol of engineering achievement and the resilience of the personnel of that period, who created one of the most technologically advanced warships of its era. After the end of the war, the Novik remained part of the Baltic Fleet, but the period of civil conflicts altered its subsequent fate. The ship survived the collapse of the previous political system, the change of power, and renaming. In the early 1920s, it joined the Workers' and Peasants' Red Fleet, continuing service under a new designation and remaining one of the most advanced destroyers of its time from a technical standpoint. By the mid-1920s, due to wear and tear and the emergence of more modern types of ships, the Novik was decommissioned from the active fleet. Its name, nevertheless, was not forgotten. A series of Soviet destroyers was built based on its design, inheriting its main constructive features and speed characteristics. Thus concluded the history of a ship that became an example of the fleet's capacity during that period for creating advanced naval technology and conducting effective combat operations. The history of the Novik illustrates how engineering talent and effort were able to create designs that matched or surpassed the best of their time. This destroyer became associated with qualities such as swiftness, operational readiness, and precision, reflecting a particular stage in the fleet's development.